Hello, welcome to another tutorial. What are we going to do today? Well, I'm going to give you some information about creating some spacey scenes. And what I've found is that you want to have a great space look, but you don't want to model for ages to create all those tiny little details. Today some tricks and some plugins to help you speed up your modeling. This is an example I created. Over here you see 6 cubes with some different plugins and some different detailing I made, and let's go started to give you some information. Okay, first thing we need, we just for purpose of explanation, I'll do it with a cube. Add some segments. Okay, the next thing we need is a plugin. You can get it for free. It's called Magic Select. And what you need to do is make it edible, and then go into the polygon mode, and then press polygon. And you see something strange happens. Just randomly some polygons are selected. And by changing this menu, you can create all kinds of selections, and it's very easy. Just change the range a little bit, press polygon again, and we have a new selection. Okay, let's go work with this selection. And what we can do is go to create, and then go to extrude and create caps, and we don't want to preserve the groups, and then just expand them a little bit. And because I have the variation set on 80%, it won't be extruded eagerly, and you have a much nicer, interesting shape to continue to work on. So this is option 1. And just create a new cube, put a little bit aside. Of course we need 10 segments again. And I show you another option. And with this option we're going to need a paid plugin, and it's familiar maybe to most of you. It's called Greebler. And what Greebler does is just make it edible, put it underneath, and what you see is Greebler adds all kinds of funny little shapes on all the polygons. And the more polygons you have, the more little Greeblers you will have on your cube. And of course you can change all kinds of settings. For example, the height of the bevel. Just change this to 30. And what you see is you almost get the same as the other one we created, except it's not with all those funny little things on it. Just make it a little bit smaller again. And show you what it looks like. Okay, that's another one. Okay, we want a new cube. Again, 10 segments. Just make it edible. Well, also one thing that's very interesting you can do is add some hair. And the hair module is not just for hair. You can also do a lot of funny things with it. Add hair, and you see all the polygons I've created some guides, and we don't need that many segments. and we don't need the length, around 20. And what we want is we want it to be in a polygon center. So each polygon receives one guide. Let's go to this settings. Okay. Go in the hair settings again, and what we want is just opening up all the settings. Okay. And what we want with you have the guides and you have the hairs, and you have to be very careful with that, because the guides is just some information about how the settings will be, and the hairs actually display on the screen. And what we want them as guides. And then we're going to generate. And what we want is we want to create an instance, and the instance is a shape we can choose, or we can just choose one of these. Just go to settings, and what you see now that we have some kind of spikes and we don't have cubes, and that's why, because the hair is using the settings of the material, and the material is mentioned over here. And when you go to the thickness, you see it's very small. So when we increase the thickness of the hair, you see what happens on the screen, and that the size is changed accordingly to the settings we are putting over here. And that's exactly what we want. We do the face or tighten scale, different kinds of scale. And some other thing is that we do not want to render the hairs, we just want to render the shape. And there you see we have all the blocks coming out of the cube. When you choose instance, you can do some other things. Good. And you can choose an object, and let's make a small object. Grab the cylinder. Oh, sorry. And well, we want to be careful, because otherwise it gets a lot of memory, or maybe even a memory bug, is that we want to keep the shape as less complicated. So just make it a small amount of polygons. Maybe it is even too big. Okay, go into the hair, and then we need to put cylinder over here. Okay, nothing happens. Just checking why. Okay, one thing I forgot is that you can only put an instance when it's been made editable. And there you see, there are all the instances. what you can do is you can also lower the number. Any way you like. Okay, that's another one. Don't like the symmetry part of these settings, then you can go to your hairs and then go to auto, and then just play around with these settings. And here you see you got just a few of them. And you can do this with antennas, with trees, with cars, anything you want to display on your cube. Okay, that's another option. Let's go to option number 4, and of course create a new cube. Okay, move the cylinder a little bit out of the way, and of course 10 segments again, and go to another interesting, I think the most interesting one of the options, and that's playing with the texture settings. And let's create a new material. When we go into the material settings, the last one is the displacement tag, and when you press this one, we can go to here and add a noise. And when you go into the noise setting and press this little arrow, you can see all different kinds of noises you can choose. Let's pick this one. Okay, go into the placement settings. And what we need to do is, because we do not have enough polygons to create this interesting shape, we need to subpolygon. Okay, and then just add it. And of course nothing happens because we have to go into our render settings. And what you see is that the texture is creating all kinds of depths into the cube, and what it does, it's really actually changing the cube. So it's not a bump. In the bump it just creates some kinds of depth by the light settings, but this one is actually really creating those nice shapes into a square. And when you go into the displacement settings, you can increase the strength, you can increase the height. Let's make it 20. You can make the edges of the cube more round, so it stays more into shape. And you can also do a negative height. You won't see a lot of changes because with this noise, but if you pick another noise, this one, And what you can do, of course, is because it's a material, you can also change the number of tiles. And when you decrease the number of subdivision levels, you will see it won't have that sharp edge anymore. And that's why it needs a lot of subdivision. But around 4, that's okay. And of course, you can also use your own kind of materials. Okay, a new cube again. Again, 10 segments. Okay. Create new material. Into the material settings. Go to the displacement and then load an image. And I've created some images. You can also find them on the internet, of course. Get it into the project. Don't forget to tag the subpolygon displacement. Add it to the cube. And let's see for a second. And you get a nice kind of panel suggestion. And what you can do is copy the channel, go to color and paste the channel, and then it's a lot easier to see what you're doing actually. What I want to do is I want to increase the number of tiles and render again. And what also helps sometimes is when you go into the font tag, decrease the font. And this might be, yeah, let's stick to try this one. No, it's up to you. Okay, and I'll show you one more. And a new cube. Okay, 10 seconds again. New material. Go to the material segment. Load image. Yeah. Yes. Copy channel. Let's try. And because the image is more detailed, you can see it's got a very nice texture over here. And to make it even more looks spacey scary, you can go into the materials and go to luminance and what we want is load image. Yeah. Okay, and we want to subtract, and we don't want the mix strength to be that much because we will lose all the other details. And then we're going to change the color. Okay. Maybe a little green. Yep. And check. Well, that's really nice. And of course, you can add some backgrounds, some environment. I put in the sky object with some texture, and we don't need those wheels. Okay. Put them all on screen. And give it a render. And then you got all your spicy kind of scenes ready. I hope it was informative, and see you on the next tutorial. Bye.